Hello my YouTube friends. I'm going to demonstrate to you on how to paint a tulip today. I'm going to be using my folk art paints, and they're by Plaid, and they're acrylic paints, not oils. Some people have asked if I'm using oils. Today I'm just using the acrylic paints, and this special medium I'm using, it's floating medium, and it does two things. One is it helps to glide the paint on your surface, especially if you're painting on surfaces that are porous. Like today I'm demonstrating on a sketch pad. So this is paper, very porous, on wood or terracotta pots, anything where the paint, especially if you're using folk art paints, which contain hardly any water, so it's really nice, thick, and creamy. And if you're painting on something that's very porous without any water, because we're not going to be using any water with this technique, you want the paint to glide. So that's why I'm using this floating medium. I'm going to use my dark and light shade of green. You see how thick and creamy they come out. And we want that so that we can double load, meaning picking up a dark color, a light color at the same time, and we don't want any water. If there's any water in your brush as you're double loading with the dark and light, the paints are going to mix together and you'll get this thing called the muddy mess, and you don't want that. You want nice dark and light shades. I'm going to pick up here my floating medium. This has no color, just very clear, but same consistency as the paint. I'm going to first paint some transparent leaves. So by mixing half floating medium and half paint here, I will get like a watercolor effect here, and that's what I'm going for. And this is how I usually fill up my canvas with more things in the background before I paint my flower. So this is your chisel edge. I'm going to drag my chisel edge, slowly start to push down, and then slowly start to let go. So with your chisel edge being nice and flat, it will give you nice points on your leaves and nice skinny stems, and that's what you want. So I'm going to add a few more right here. Some skinny ones here. Okay, that's probably enough right there. Okay, I'm going to double load my two flower colors. This green I'm just going to wipe off with the towel. You don't need to go in water each time. I'm picking up this peachy coral color with a little bit of yellow. Now to get the paint to be fully loaded, which means inside the bristles, I'm picking up the two colors on the corners of my brush, pushing hard as I'm blending back and forth. And this allows the paint to go into your bristles, and that's what we need to make this technique work. So before I go on my surface, I'm going to pick up a little bit of my floating medium, and I just touch my chisel and then remember to blend. So remember, that's going to help my paint to glide on my surface. So here, the tulip I'm going to show you today is just the very simple one. There are many different ways to paint a tulip, and we want this quick and fast so that people who are first learning how to paint can do this too. I just painted a U right here. Now for my petals, I'm going to drag my chisel, and you can kind of wave it a little bit, push down as I go up and over, and then slide back down and end on your chisel. I'm going to do the other side, add my petal on the right side. I'm going to pick up a little bit of white on my yellow side. That will just brighten it a little bit. So here, See how my brush kind of leans inwards? So this makes the painting of this petal on this side a little bit easier. Go up and over, slowly start to release and end on your chisel. Okay, now you see the difference between these two yellows? This one I picked up a little more white, or added white to my yellow. See how much that brightens it up? I'm going to restroke this again to make it that bright. And with this technique, you can paint over things that you don't like or want to fix or want to change. So I'm going to go back, pick up a little more white on that side, and just restroke this. So here, push down, slowly start to release pressure and end on your tippy toe. Okay, there's your two petals, and I'm going to paint the petal right in the middle there. Pick up more color. My yellow here and a tiny bit of white. So with this technique, you can pick up to 4 or 5 colors on your brush at the same time. So right here, this is now my petal in the front. Go up and over, rotate, slowly start to release pressure so that when you end on your tippy toe. Okay, there's a tulip there. Now if you want to paint a few more petals, I'm just going to pull another petal right here and just slide down. There's another petal right there. Okay, now I'm going to wipe this off, and now I'm going to paint my stem and my leaves. So here's my dark green, which is my thicket. And the lighter green I'm using here is called what is this? The fresh cut grass green. That's a nice name. And you see that where I have some of that tulip color in there? That's really cool. So that's what you're going to get when you just kind of wipe it off a little bit. It's always nice to have a little bit of the other color left on your brush. I picked up a little more white on my light side of my green. Now here, you see my dark green on the bottom, light green on the top. I want my stem to be a little bit darker than my lighter green. So what I'm going to do is switch my brush and have the darker green on the top and pull my stem. You see, I get both colors, but my main color becomes the darker green. Now let me show you here on the side what happens if I turn the brush back this way and lead with the darker green here. The light color green becomes your main color. You see that? So you can decide if you want a darker stem or a lighter stem, and it's all in what color leads as you're pulling. Okay, now I'm going to show you here my leaves. I'm going to pick up a little bit of my flower color because I always like to mix a little bit of that floating medium. So right here I'm going to have my darker green on the top. Chisel, push, slowly let go. And you see that? The floating medium allowed my paint to glide. And another thing, the floating medium will give you that nice point, so no dry edges, and also a lot of paint inside the bristles will allow your brush to spread your strokes that easily. Now that's one leaf. Now I'm going to make this a slightly wider leaf. I'm going to go back up here on my tippy toe, drag, and then lean outwards a little bit. Oh, let me pick up more medium, because you see there I just got a little dry there. So here, So I just slightly made that one a little wider. Now here, same thing. Drag on my chisel, push, and end on your tippy toe. Let me show you here a leaf that has a little flip to it. Picking up a little more flower color. So here, up. I'm going to pick up more green that has a little bit too much of that pink in there. But I'm just going to stroke over that so you can see how I did that, okay? Dark color, light color on my brush. I have my darker color on the top. I'm going to drag my chisel on my tippy toe, and you slowly start to let the brush sit. I do my up and over. You see that right there? That was my up and over. Go on your chisel. Remember, the chisel is the edge of your brush, your bristles. And now flip that green over and pull and end on your tippy toe. Isn't that a neat leaf? And I will do another one over here, but slightly different. Drag on my chisel. Push, push. Remember, adding pressure to your stroke just makes your stroke a little wider. And then I slowly start to release the pressure until I end on my tippy toe. And there's another leaf right there. Just add a few more. And there you go. That is a simple tulip. Hope you try it, and let me know if you have any questions. You can always send me emails. Okay? Thanks for watching.